Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Fostering the People podcast, a podcast that encourages anyone to really go after the goals that they want to accomplish within their lives and foster growth regardless of the foundation they started with. I'm your host, Alana, and welcome back to episode 2. If you have been with me this far, I just want to sincerely thank you from the bottom of my heart for your continued support. And if you are new to the podcast, welcome, and I really hope you find this information useful. So, in episode 1 of Fostering the People, we talked about something that is extremely important as we are working towards building a foundation of growth within our life. And that is tunnel vision. How tunnel vision can really, although you think you are going after the goal that you have, can be super detrimental into how you go after it. Because although it's good to know where you want to go, there may be other ways to get there. And something that's equally as important as ensuring that you don't maintain tunnel vision is choosing yourself. Now, I'm not just talking about making sure you choose to eat healthy or even making sure you take a shower before you take your dog out. I'm talking about a greater mindset that we really need to change. And that is that in this world, we are meant to be nurturers. We are meant to give, but we're never meant to keep for ourselves. Because I think too often throughout the world, but especially within America, women, but also everyone, this isn't just for women, are taught that you have to give to people. You have to give your energy to others and nurture other people's goals and their growth and not really leave any for yourself. But any successful person that you meet will tell you not to pour from an empty cup. But you also need to realize you cannot pour from a cup that's half full either. Because what happens when you pour from a half full cup? That means you got less to work with. And instead of seeing it as something negative, because I personally struggled so much with the idea of, okay, well, I should have it. I technically got it, but I ain't got it like that. So even though I don't got it like that, I know this person has less than me, and so I should just be willing to give them something so that we're both working with a little bit of something. But with me doing that, I was still giving up more than just that little thing I thought I was giving. It wasn't just that I was giving them $20. I was, first of all, I was giving them permission to ask again when I barely had it to give it to them the first time. And I was saying no to myself, which is not something that we need to do if we're actually trying to build a foundation for growth within our own lives. Because if you think about it, with you constantly telling others yes, you have to tell yourself no. By your willingness to pour the little bit of that you have into someone else's cup, you are not just sacrificing that little thing that they asked for. You're sacrificing energy, you're sacrificing time, and you're actually changing your mindset in a way that isn't conducive with growth within your own life. And so, really, in order to build something that is stable enough to actually help others, you have to create a foundation. And you create a foundation by doing a few things. The first thing you have to do is be willing to tell people no. You may be that person, but we all have a family, I'm sure, or people in our lives. And everyone has that one person they can go to for things when they need help. But what if that one person is you? What if you're that one person for everybody? if shit hit the fan, would you have another person to go to? Or would you be like, dang, although I have so many people in my life that can rely on me for support, I can't say the same about them. And if you are someone similar to me that has less people in her life to lean on for support than you actually have people that you support in your life, you have to be willing to know when to give and when to give to yourself. And so practicing saying no to others so that you can say yes to yourself, but also changing the mindset that saying no means you're selfish. What you really should be thinking about is that it's strategic, because I'm not just saying no, I can't give you $20 because I don't got it. Even if I don't got it, it's my business, it's my $20. But in the grand scheme of things, I may be saying no now, but I am building a foundation so that in the future I can say yes and not even have to worry about it. I don't need that $20. I'm so unbothered by that because I've accomplished the goals that I have for myself, and I set the foundation to where a gust of wind isn't going to knock it over. One failure isn't going to knock it over. Losing your job isn't going to knock down the foundation that I've built for myself. And that's what happened to me last year. Like I said in my intro episode, I became unemployed at the end of last year. And it really brought a lot of things into perspective, because although I'm talking about tunnel vision and choosing yourself and everything, and these are things that I know I need to continue doing in order to continue building a foundation for growth within my life, I struggle with it immensely. This is not something that's new to me. And I found myself, after becoming unemployed, realizing that although I had learned these things, I was still living in my past mindset. And I thought that since I had just graduated and I was accomplishing so much, that those same things wouldn't creep up in other ways into my life. But it reminded me, like, hey, you know what you need to do. You just forgot about it because you thought it only showed up in one particular instance. And so I say that all to say, yes, we're going to talk about things that seem easier said than done. But what's not easy is realizing that it actually shows up in more ways than one. And remembering and forcing myself to remember, but also to live in the truth that I know that I need to live in order to go after the goals that I still have to accomplish for myself. And I really just want to encourage others to do the same, because there's never a situation where we accomplish all our goals and that's said and done. What usually happens is we accomplish this goal and then we have another goal and then we keep going and moving up. And that's what I want. That's what I hope everyone can get from this, is you're never done growing. You're never done achieving. And this mindset and thought process that you need to have in order to set the foundation for growth within your life isn't something that you just learn once and you're all good and dandy. That's never the case. It is something that you're going to have to actively work towards throughout the rest of your life. And you may fail. I fail. But I'm here to support you. And your encouragement so far has supported me. So, building yourself, yes, it's not selfish, it is strategic. Investing in yourself is strategic, so then you can invest in other things that you care about in a way that doesn't impact your ability to make sure that you're okay in your life. But this is something that is very hard to do, because as we all know, especially in this world, you are taught to care for your family, and you're taught to really support others. If you see them wanting to be wanting to be where you are, you're like, oh, it's nothing. Just grab my coattails and we'll ride the wave together, right? But although you may want something for someone that seems so easy to achieve, we have to focus on the life that we are living. Because if we don't, it is easier for the person that is where we were 5 years ago to pull us back than it is for us to pull them forward. That's just how gravity works. If you're pulling down, if you're pulling someone up and they're down, you're more likely to fall because you don't have a stable foundation versus them. If they're less likely to pull themselves up because they need energy in themselves. You need more energy to pull them up, and they need the same energy to pull themselves up, because it takes less energy for them to pull you down than it does for you to pull them up. And so what that really means is you cannot care more about others than you do for yourself. And by telling everyone around you yes, you have to tell yourself no. And that means you care more about their dreams, their future, than your own future and your dreams. And that just can't be the case. It can't be, plain and simple. Like, it may seem mean, but you gotta, another thing is, everyone thinks that to have this mindset, you're selfish, you should feel guilty about it. But like, the only people that will make you feel that way are people who never supported you to begin with, who only saw you as something to support them. But you didn't have somebody to support you. You didn't have somebody to encourage you when you didn't know whether to take route A or B. But you got there, and you will still have yourself. And that's why sometimes you got to focus on the business that pays you. Because one thing this life is going to do is life. Oh, if anything, 2026 has shown us is that this life is going life. And at the end of the day, we all only have one life to live. And once that life is over, that's it. So if now is not the time to do it, I don't know what other time is. We gotta mind the business that pays us and live the life that we are in control over, regardless of how much we want others, especially our loved ones, to meet us where we are as well. And regardless of how easy it seems for them to do that, because at the end of the day, one person's story is not another person's story. And the way one person gets to somewhere isn't the same way someone else is going to get there. All I'm saying is assess where you are in your life and whether or not the responsibilities and things that you have responsibility over are actually supportive of your growth and your future, or are they really things that don't technically involve you that you are making space for in your life? Because we can't make space for everything. Even if we genuinely want to see it succeed, we have to practice discernment on what we can put on our plate and what we can't put on our plate. And even if we got room on our plate, you gotta be willing to think, okay, even though I have this room on my plate to carry this small thing, will that prevent me from going after the things that I want? Will I have enough space on my plate to put the things that I care about and what matters to me on my plate, while also carrying this thing that has no business being on my plate? I just felt the need to put it on there for some reason. So, yeah. And so that is the whole thought about a glass half full, and really not getting out of the mindset that even though my glass is half full, it's still better than others, and I need to be willing to share in the wealth and the positivity so that I can encourage others to be like me, okay? Because at the end of the day, words only mean so much. Another thing that I wanted to mention, that even though your glass is half full, it is enough to get you where you need to go. So maybe you're of the mindset of, okay, well, I have a cup that's half full, but it's not enough for me to go after what I want. It's not enough for me to start this thing that I've been so passionate about because I don't have X, Y, and Z. First of all, comparison is the thief of joy. But had I compared myself and just constantly focused on what other people had versus what I didn't have, it would have prevented me, or at least paralyzed me from starting when I felt a calling to do so. And so this whole idea that you need to have a great foundation and be fully just pulled together before you go after your goals, we got to get rid of that too. So change the mindset that you need to help others even when you're trying to help yourself. It's okay to say no to others because you're telling yourself yes. And the same way we think we have half a glass and it's not enough to give to others, remember that it is enough to give to ourselves. And it's enough to do and go after the goals that we have. But it's not enough to do that and try to help other people who aren't helping themselves either. And so really this episode is about really setting the foundation to build stability within your life and giving you permission to focus and be selfish so that you can create a space for you to give back to others later. And even if it is energy takes up space in our hearts, in our mind, and in the things around us. And so just the next time somebody asks you to do something, just think about, what does this take from me? And I'm not saying don't say yes to everything. All I'm saying is just think about, what does this take from me? Does this align with the goals that I have for myself? And is this really something that supports and helps them, or is it something that hinders them? Because if it doesn't support them and it only hinders them, then you're not fostering their growth, let alone your own, because then you're teaching them that to call on you when they need somebody to continue keeping them from their goals. So that's everything that I wanted to share with you guys. If you have trouble with really just choosing yourself, definitely just start, like I said, think about what doing this action for someone actually supports. And if it doesn't support you, practice saying no. Practice saying no. Now, don't say no to ice cream, because we all need ice cream. But say no to things that don't serve you. Thanks for tuning in to episode 2 of Fostering the People. Again, my name is Alana. If you like this episode, please make sure you like, subscribe, and share. Our podcast is available on all platforms, including YouTube and Facebook. And stay tuned for next week's episode. Thank you.